Welcome back to Chukitable Media. I was watching Mrs. Abacha on the television today. She did what a wife supposed to do for her husband. What is it exactly? I want you to watch and see. She tried her best to cover up for her husband. She tried her best to defend her husband one way or the other, smartly absorbing the man from all ill doings that he performed during his time in office. She failed to mention June 12, but June 12, happens to be part of the reason why all the problem in Nigeria that we're having today is there. And the cause is from the two people, Babangida and Abacha, both of them, one dead, one alive. She defended her husband that her husband wasn't corrupt. I will leave you to watch this video, but after that, I would like you to listen to what I have to say, which is my opinion. And I want to send you a message to Mrs. Abacha so that she can listen as well. I have this article I need to read out for you so that you can understand. It was in French and later on translated to English. It says the Abacha Fund, Nigeria. During his brutal reign between 1993 and 1998, Nigerian dictator Sani Abacha embezzled more than $2.2 billion in public funds. Upon his death, some of this money was located in Switzerland, nearly $700 million, over £1 billion at the time, was frozen in no fewer than 140 bank accounts identified with Swiss financial intermediaries. Shortly after these accounts were frozen in year 2000, Public Eye called for the return of this money to Nigerian population. However, it was not until Friday 2005 that the federal court ruling allowed this asset to be seized and returned to Nigeria. Aware of the risk that this sum could once again be diverted or misused, Public Eye and Nigerian NGO quickly demanded this restitution be made for the benefit of Nigerian population and that the use of the fund be carefully monitored. A problematic restitution. This precaution were not taken. However, both countries subsequently agreed to allow the World Bank to investigate the project financed by this restitution. For this part, NGOs conducted an equivalent investigation to report published in 2006 by World Bank. On the other hand, by NGOs, on the other hand, showed that some of this asset returned to Nigeria has been allocated to projects that were already completed when the funds were allocated or did not exist at all. That project had been abandoned, that they had never been operational, or that they had been planned by the central government without taking into account the needs of the population. Thanks to the work of the Swiss and Nigerian NGOs, the Abacha's case marked a decisive turning point in Switzerland's active policy on the recovery of illicit assets. Following these difficulties, the federal authorities more likely identified the issues related to this restitution operation to ensure that such assets do not fall back into the hands or pocket of those who stole them, their entourage, or their successors, but instead actually benefit the population of the country concerned. They have decided to monitor their use more closely, to stagger the restitution and to make it subject to guarantee regarding the projects to which they will be allocated, The authority have also attempted to involve civil society in the country of origin in decision regarding the allocation of funds and their proper use. So these are the shortcomings in the anti-money laundering system. In 2000, the Swiss Federal Bank Commission SFBC, now FINMA, also analyzed the role of 19 banking institutions that had accepted Abacha's fund. The funding was serious for the Swiss financial center. According to the SFBC, only 5 institutions concerned had fulfilled their due diligence duty. 6 banks had a compliance system deemed deficient. 6 others were accused of serious failing or crass individual behavior. This analysis led to regulatory authority to clarify duties of financial institutions in the fight against the money laundering and to strengthen its control. Public Eye, this is the magazine, for its part, deemed the measure insufficient to guarantee the effectiveness and application of legal framework in force. In 2011, Billion blogged in Switzerland following the Arab Spring showed how justified these doubts were. So, history repeats itself again. The restitution of the seized fund in 2005 did not definitely end in Swiss aspect of the Abacha's affair. In 1999, some of the assets belonging to Nigerian dictator family, some $350 million have remained frozen in the third country, notably in Luxembourg, due to proceeding opened in Geneva against the Abacha son. This proceeding have experienced numerous twists and turns. An initial attempt by the Geneva authorities to secure the confiscation of these funds failed in 2014 before the federal court. In March 15, the press revealed that an agreement had been reached between the Republic of Nigeria and Abacha family. This amicable settlement provides for restitution of the sum frozen in Luxembourg since 1999. It was endorsed by the Geneva Court, which sees the opportunity to definitely end the proceeding still open in Switzerland. A scandalous agreement, according to the paper. This agreement concluded in its greatest secrecy. It's highly problematic, particularly because it does not include any condition for the return of the assets. The unfrozen funds are simply to be transferred to Nigeria with nothing defined to ensure their use for the benefit of the Nigerian population. This procedure is completely contrary to Switzerland's current policy on restitution. This agreement also sees the criminal justice system close a long-standing procedure without the beneficiaries of this embezzlement having been convicted. In practice, Swiss law is still ineffective when it comes to seizing access plundering by dictators at the expense of their populations.
Mariam Abacha, widow of former Nigerian military head of state, General Sani Abacha, has defended her late husband against long-standing allegations of looting public funds. 27 years after his death, Mariam spoke on live television, claiming that the monies her husband kept for Nigeria vanished within months of his death in 1998, implying mismanagement of subsequent administrations. She challenged those accusing her husband of stashing billions abroad to provide concrete evidence, such as signatures or bank records. She also dismissed the notion that her husband single-handedly amassed wealth, suggesting that the accusations are rooted in tribalism, religious bias, or other societal issues. Let's take a look.
Who is the witness of the monies that were being stashed? Did you see the signature or the evidence of any monies stashed abroad? And the monies that my husband kept for Nigeria, in a few months, the monies vanished. People are not talking about that. Why are you blaming somebody for is that tribalism or religious program, or what is the problem with Nigerians? I pray for Nigerians. I pray for all of us. I pray that we should have goodness in our hearts. We should stop telling lies and blaming people. Why are we so bad towards each other? Because somebody is a northerner or a southerner, somebody is a Muslim or a Christian, or somebody is nice. It's not fair. I think the press should try, the press should try to educate the people. You are here to educate the people, to inform the people, and to entertain. You are here to help the country. You are not here to bastardize people.
Indeed. All right. You know, I'd like to just read out some of the what they call Abacha loot that has been recovered. We know that the federal government has, in the past, announced the recovery of multiple tranches of funds reportedly stashed by Abacha in foreign accounts. Like I said, known as the Abacha loot. As of 2020, over $3.624 billion had been recovered across 4 different administrations. In May 2022 alone, the United Kingdom recovered $23 million linked to Abacha and his associates. 3 months later, the United States returned another $20 million. And in 2023, France returned $150 million to Nigeria, all traced back to the Abacha loot. Dr. Abati, over to you.
Okay, Mrs. Abacha, as the wife of General Sani Abacha, may not have been privy to the details of what her husband and his associates were doing. But what we know is that the legacy of General Sani Abacha is a legacy of dictatorship, authoritarianism, brutality, theft, to the disadvantage of Nigerians. There may well be some persons who say, oh, we remember General Abacha fondly, maybe in Bayelsa State. It was under his watch, for example, that Bayelsa State was created. But in terms of governance, I have made the point that the Abacha administration is regarded as the major reason why Nigerians in fact rebelled against the military and said, never again should we have, military rule in Nigeria, because President or General Abacha presided over that period that Father George Husani has referred to in a book of the same title as the years of the locusts, the years out of Nigeria's history that the locusts ate. And even children, even unborn children, have that experience of the dictatorship under Abacha. As for the loot, yes, you are correct. Abacha loot. The ancestor that continues to give.
That's what we call it.
In fact, what has been given from Abacha loot,
yes, from
the US alone, is over $340 million. The entire loot is calculated to be within the range of $1 billion to $5 billion. And we have had the repatriation of the loot, civil forfeiture, civil assets forfeiture, from the island of New Jersey, from the United States, from France, from the UK, and also from Switzerland. And Nigeria has not even been able to get out of it.
Yeah.
Mrs. Abacha may have a point by saying, Nigeria has not accounted for what they even got. Okay, if she's raising the point about transparency and accountability,
yeah.
I think she may have a point there, because the experience in Nigeria has been that even when loot is recovered, you don't know whether that loot will be relooted. So if she's asking for accountability with regard to how her husband's loot was managed, maybe she has a point there. But to try to rewrite history and, paint General Abacha in brighter colors, no. In fact, his associate, his number one associate, his boss, General Ibrahim Babangida, has fingered him as the person, in fact, who led the annulment, the conspiracy to annul the freest and fairest election ever conducted in this country on June 12, 1993. When the celebration of that special date in Nigeria history is marked in 2 days' time, there will be further accounting in terms of the role played by, General Abacha and his associated generals in Nigeria history. A sad moment in Nigeria history. So she is talking now. How does she want the Abiola family to feel?
Right.
How does she want, those people who are to run away from Nigeria? Because General Abacha had unleashed jackboots against them. what does she want the media to say? Newspaper houses that were shut down. At that time, I think I was out of job for a whole year because, the Guardian was also shut down.
Shut down,
so it's not as if we're making it up. We were part of the story at that time, and we were all in this country together. Yeah. But I respect the fact that as the widow of General Abacha, she has a duty to be loyal to the memory of her husband. To be loyal to the memory of her husband. Let nobody, rewrite history. Yes. We were all part of it.
Yes. I mean, I believe that her comment has raised the question as to what is it that this administration will do with these loots that have been recovered. I've reeled out some of them. Or what has been done so far with the loot, the Abacha loot that has been returned to Nigeria. I believe this is the sort of questions that we're going to continue to ask to the lead up to Democracy Day in a few days from now. Would love to know what the government has done with the Abacha loot.
Thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing so you won't miss out any of our latest videos.